Alright, what is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode today. I hope you guys have been enjoying all the recent episodes that I've been doing with my beloved Land Cruisers. You guys know I'm a Land Cruiser guy through and through, and I just absolutely love these machines. I just think that they are fantastically built, and that Toyota had done an amazing job with the Land Cruiser name. You guys got to remember that this badging Toyota was built over a lot of years of ruggedness and reliability. It was a brand name that really had to prove itself in the market first versus a bunch of others, including Ford and other companies that were ready to take over the world. And so Toyota did a great job in focusing on reliability, ruggedness, and R&D and research to be able to say that a Toyota will take you to the places you want to go and bring you back home. And that's where the famous phrase came, where if you want to go out on safari, take a Land Rover, but if you want to come back home, take a Land Cruiser. Today is a brand new episode of the Epic 80 Rebuild series. Alright guys, so in today's episode I actually wanted to take you through everything that I've done so far with my Land Cruiser 80 series. In case some of you have missed a few episodes, you can go back and check on that. But remember that I bought this vehicle about 3 years ago now in a much different condition than you see today. And this has been a labor of love. You guys got to remember that. Don't get yourself into one of these older vehicles if you're not prepared for the things that come with older vehicles. You guys have got to remember that. An older vehicle is going to need a bit more attention, a bit more tender loving care if it's actually going to service you well. But if you have a passion for vehicles, and if you actually have a passion for Land Cruisers, then you will love these kind of vehicles. And I've just got to be straight with you guys, because I have definitely noticed that the way they are building the modern vehicles is not like these vehicles, and that's why so many people maintain and keep their old vehicles. Because back in the day, brands actually had to build vehicles that could actually stay on the road for 10-15 years and show other brands that they have built something that is worth the test of time. Whereas today everything is just planned obsolescence, plastic parts, and reuse and replace after 10 and 15 years, which I just hate. I just think that's no value for money. So I go for these kind of beasts. You know, you got the metal and glass headlights. So proper materials used with these vehicles. So let's start right off with taking you through everything I've done with this vehicle, guys. So part of the Epic 80 build series was to get this vehicle a bit more lifted, a bit more, sort of off-road ready, to kind of unlock the potential of the Land Cruiser 80 series and to make it to have the stance that it has right now, to sit the way it does right now and actually look like the beast that it is. So what did I do to get that in order? Well, first of all, we have got 285/75/16 tires over here. That helps along the way a lot. I have loved these tires. Mud terrain got me everywhere that I've needed to. So we've got the good old mud terrain tires, and then I installed a 2-inch lift kit. So actually, Ironman suspension, I got springs, and I got the foam cell shocks. So I went with foam cell instead of foam cell pro, because I heard the foam cell pros are a bit more rigid, and you guys know that I like to maintain the stock look of these vehicles, and that's why I like to go with that. So Ironman foam cell shocks instead of foam cell pro, because the pros would have been a bit more rigid. We don't have a lot of weight on this vehicle, and so we assume that will be absolutely fine. It's like a dragonfly trying to attack me, but we'll see what happens there. And so that's what we did. So we got the foam cell shocks in, and we got the 2-inch raised coil springs in the comfort spec. You guys know my main thing with my Land Cruisers is actually to maintain ride quality, actually to have a good ride quality. This suspension is now settled. It's now feeling a bit more comfortable, and it's definitely really coming into its own now. That rigidness of when you first install a fresh suspension is starting to fade away, and it's starting to really dampen and coming into its own now. So I've got to say, I like the suspension setup. It was a good upgrade. Now as we move from there, Epic 80 build series, you guys got to remember that I had rebuilt the transmission on this vehicle. A442F transmission of the 80 series. This is a transmission you also find in the 100 series, the early models, the ones with the 4-speed transmission. 99 or 2000 models would have that one. Now, the A442F, it's a 4-speed transmission, solid, strong transmission, but it has one issue, which is that if it's not well maintained, if you don't flush the fluid, it could start slipping gears, because as soon as dirt and mud starts building up in that transmission, it's going to wear down your valve body. And if it wears down your valve body, you're going to get all host of different problems, and it could even affect the torque converter. So I got all that taken care of, rebuild torque converter, reconditioned parts, and I also installed a little radiator over here, a little cooler that would basically just circulate the coolant from the radiator into the transmission. So it's actually called the transmission cooler, and it just sits right over here. Now apart from that, guys, a few other modifications we did with the Epic 80 build series to get this vehicle where it is here is sound system. I just got a sound system installed as well, so that I've actually got good sound coming. I just replaced the speakers, and I also got these wonderful LED lighting for my grille, and I also got a a brand new loud horn. So let me show you those two modifications, because I'm quite stoked about those two. The first, of course, is this lighting. Once I, of course, find the key for the vehicle. So as you guys can see with the lights, but let me just show you the horn first. I got a super loud reinforced horn. This vehicle really needed that. You know, you need a good horn that can tell people on the road what is coming, because this is a beast, but it's a petrol beast, so it doesn't sound, you know, absurdly loud. So it's great to have that horn so people can get out of the way. So I really like these lights. I think it's a really cool upgrade. It's something small that I wanted to do for myself, and you guys know I don't want to change the appearance of the vehicle too much, but I think this is subtle enough, and I think it adds a good touch. And then the horn, of course, which is a great thing, and the sound system. And as we go on with the Epic 80 build series, you guys know I also replaced brake pads. So you know, the 80 series, the brakes are not particularly bad, but it's good to go with OEM brake pads, and so I got the OEM pads put in, and they work fantastically. Apart from that, I've not touched too much into the engine. I've just done the basics in terms of oil services. We serviced the distributor. You guys know this is a 1FZ FE, so it's a petrol engine, and it's run by a Dizzy or a distributor. So a good service on that, just to get the engine nicely tuned up, and she's performing very well. All right, now we come to the front of this vehicle, guys. I wanted to just do a quick talk on diesel and petrol. I know a lot of Kenyans, a lot of you guys feel like you can only take a vehicle out on long distances, an SUV, if it's a diesel. And I want to tell you guys that don't discount the petrols. They really do a good job. Even though this is a much older engine, it is a very reliable and rugged engine, and I must tell you guys that it will keep going. Yes, you have to pay for fuel, but you don't a lot have to worry about injectors and that sort of thing. You just have to worry about fuel and air filters and oil filters and oil, and that's as simple as it gets. But anyways, here we have the mighty 1FZ FE. You guys know this is a 4.5 liter engine, a 4.5 liter inline 6-cylinder. So it's not a V6, it's not a V8, it's a classic inline. It's a block, it's in a line. The cylinders are in a line, and that's why we call it inline 6-cylinder. It's got multiple belts that this vehicle runs. One of the belts is a fan belt, another belt, that fan belt also runs accessories, and then we have one of the main belts. And we also have a timing chain in this engine, so we don't have a timing belt. Now, some of the modifications I've done here, apart from the regular services, oil, air, oil filters and oil, As I told you, we did a bit of work on the distributor just to get this engine tuned up. I have opened the top half of this engine cover and I've cleaned that up. I have flushed this engine, and I have recently replaced the fan clutch, and that's why over there you can see that brand new superb looking fan clutch. Radiator has been just fine, no work needed there. Fan clutch was making noise and that's why we replaced it. And I've also got all these belts replaced. So we've got brand new drive belts for this vehicle. Apart from that, I have flushed all the fluids in this vehicle. We talk about power steering fluid, I've got it done. We talk about brake fluid, I've got it done. Coolant, we have flushed. Engine oil, we have flushed. And apart from that, guys, the vehicle is continuing to go.